Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Lucy Parsons and I am an academic coach, and today I'm going to be talking about why finding your study style is like finding your fashion sense. So welcome to today's video. So it's a commonly known fact that teenagers like to fit in, but they also want to stand out. It's also fairly commonly known that teenagers often feel a bit lost when it comes to their revision and exam preparation. These two things mean that teens who are struggling to know how to revise are very likely to copy their friends and the revision methods they're using if they think their friends are revising successfully. But this might not be a very good idea. So why is it not a good idea to copy your friends' revision techniques? Well, it's a problem because each of us individually have different ways of learning that suit us better. And particularly when you think about the fact that many of us are doing different subjects. So there are some subjects that all students need to do, particularly at GCSE, but there's also an awful lot of choice that students make, and revision techniques for different subjects can be different. So there are some universal principles of learning. For example, repetition is really important with learning. If you think about a baby learning to walk, they keep trying, they keep going, they pull themselves up, they take a step, they make a stumble, but they keep trying. They repeat until they get the knack of what they're trying to do. It's the same with babies learning to talk. And all learning is the same. It is reinforced through repetition. Another universal principle is to practice. So it's to practice the skills that you need in order to succeed. And something that's really valuable for all students to do is to practice past papers so that they understand how to express their knowledge in a way that earns them marks. However, beyond these basic principles, these universal principles for learning, there are differences in how people like to learn. So, for example, I have always loved to learn through talking and discussion with people. However, I once went to a school and did a talk about revision, and one of the young men there, they were sixth formers, said that he just hated class discussions and listening to kind of lecture style teaching. It just completely turned him off. He turned off, he thought it was boring, he didn't learn anything. He and me, we are completely different in terms of how we like to learn. Then there are other examples. So some students really love to learn in a visual way. So I was talking to a young man on our Extraordinaries Club coaching call the other evening who really liked visual learning. And, they might make infographic style notes, or they might create mind maps linking lots of varied and different things together. But then other people are going to much prefer a much more logical approach. Maybe they lay things out as a flow diagram, or they have lots of kind of tables and charts in their revision to lay things out in a really logical way. And then there are some students who really thrive on reading the textbook, really understanding the information in there, looking at the diagrams and all that kind of thing. But then there are others who this is just meaningless to. They just can't take the information in this way. And they really need to experience their learning and do something very practical to make it stick. So you can see when I explain these different kind of learning experiences and preferences that, it's ridiculous to copy how somebody is revising if they're not revising in a way that actually works for you. Because no matter how successful it is for them, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you and your brain or the subjects that you are actually studying. So our young people really need to think carefully about how they learn. And remember that we all work slightly differently when it comes to studying. And in this way, it's a bit like fashion sense, because when young people have the confidence to wear the clothes they own and they want to wear their way, they're going to be much more comfortable and confident in themselves. The same way with learning, if they learn in the way that works for them and they feel comfortable with and is working for them, they're going to feel much more comfortable and confident with how they are progressing with their academic work. So if you've been listening to this and you're like, right, my child, then probably not revising or learning in the way that really suits them, what can we do about it? Well, I can help. You'll be pleased to know. I run frequent revision Kickstarter workshops. They're 2-hour live workshops on Zoom. They're really practical. And one of the exercises we do is to identify your child's learning or study style. We don't really call it learning styles. The old kind of term learning styles has been slightly discredited through research, but different people do have different study styles, and that's what I've been talking about today. So we go through this exercise about how your child learns best, and then we see how we can apply what we've learned about how they learn best to their revision. So for example, if they have identified that they learn really well through practical learning, we think about how we can do more of that in their revision rather than just more textbook stuff, which is meaningless and not very helpful to them. So on the Revision Kickstarter workshops, we also prioritise what to revise in a quick, easy, repeatable way. And this really helps students to reduce their overwhelm, which is so important at this time of year. I'm recording this in March. So we're getting towards the final countdown towards this summer's exams. At the Revision Kickstarter workshop, we also create a personalised and flexible revision plan. And we also find out how to incorporate a little bit of revision into every day. So even when school is overwhelming, they've got too much to do, they get home and they're really tired, they can still do a little bit. We're talking micro amounts of revision, but every little bit adds up and counts. And so that's really, really important. So I'm running a Revision Kickstarter workshop this Saturday, the 26th of March 2022. If you'd like to sign up, I've put the link in the description for this video, and you can find that at lifemoreextraordinary.com/revision-kickstarter. If you're watching this in the future, you might find the page for another event that's happening at a different time of the school year, or you might find the waiting list there, in which case you can sign up to the waiting list and wait for another opportunity to attend the Revision Kickstarter. So what I really want you to take away from this video is that different people learn best in different ways, and it's not a good idea to copy somebody else's revision method, because they might not be the way that you learn. And when you find the right revision methods, they're going to give you confidence, and they're going to make you feel more comfortable in your achievement and in your learning, the same way as when you're wearing the right colours, the right styles, you feel like a much more kind of elevated version of yourself in kind of a fashion sense. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like notes on this video, I've linked to the article that goes with it in the description. And you can also sign up for a free chapter of my book, The 10-Step Guide to Acing Every Exam You Ever Take. And I hope to see you on this Revision Kickstarter in March 2022, or on a future one if you aren't able to sign up this time. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and goodbye.